Meeting of the Webster County Planning and Zoning Commission. Let's start with roll call. Margot Knippel, I am here. Tyler Lane. Absent. Laura Kelly. Absent. Gary Nelson.
Here.
Tommy Coleman.
Here.
Tommy Smith. Absent. And Arlen Borchowski.
Present.
All right. Item number 2, reviewing and approving the minutes of the August 8th and the September 12th meetings. We will have 2 separate motions. If everyone's had the opportunity to review those, I will entertain first a motion to approve the August 8th minutes.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Gary. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those voting to approve, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous, passed. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the September 12th meeting. Do I have a motion for that? Arlen has the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a second. All those voting to approve those minutes say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No one opposed, so that is unanimously passed. New business. We're opening the public hearing amendment to the Webster County Code of Ordinances, Title 6, Chapter 1, and ordinance regulating zoning districts in Webster County, Iowa, Section 6-1-4, titled Districts, District Map, Uses. Said amendment provides for transportation corridor overlay zoning districts with certain requirements. Jeff, do you have a presentation for us?
Yes, I do.
Thank
For
you.
sure one. So, good evening. For the record, Jeff Johnson, Planning and Zoning Administrator for the county. The Planning and Zoning Commission has met over the past 2 or 3 months, looking at these proposed regulations for the overlay zoning district requirements. As most of you are aware, the comprehensive plan was adopted recently by the Board of Supervisors a couple months ago. And what this language does is it implements the overlay zones and corresponds to those zoning districts that are tied to those zones for any new development that comes in. So these are our development standards that will require rezoning, and it will come before the board, will come before the Planning and Zoning Commission, who will really, you guys are going to be the ones that are going to be critiquing those site plans, the aesthetics, the look, and everything like that, and passing that recommendation along to the Board of Supervisors. Of course, I'll have a staff report with my recommendation, and we just, hash all that out, and really excited about this because this is gonna, give us some guidance, definitely gonna give us some guidelines and some aesthetic standards for when development comes in. So if somebody's not throwing up something that's, like a tin shack or something that, these are all along our major transportation corridors, which are very visible to the public, and they do need to stand out and look nice and be attractive to the traveling public, and also people to just visit them and the neighbors and so forth. So I know the Planning and Zoning Commission had some comments at the last meeting, some things that we did, put in here to make sure that some certain things were addressed. I think that had to do with compatibility. Access management, some more language on access management and so forth. So I think we're there. You guys have had the opportunity to take a look at that. These requirements, if there's anything, you want to add or discuss, now is our time. Keep in mind, this is a public hearing. We did advertise this in the paper. So I just want to put that out there for the record. So.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. We have no members of the public zooming in then? No. All right. We have no members of the public. For the record, we'll open for public comment.
That's good.
At 6:07. And seeing no members of the public, we will close for public comment. 6:07 and 30 seconds. So on to board comments. Does anybody have any comments on the information? I think we've been through this stuff.
We have, and no, I think what we've come up with I don't wanna call it a draft, we come up with some requirements that could always be amended down the road if we see issues or something that comes up as, as time changes. I mean, I'm sure there'll be, amendments down the road, to certain aspects of it, but, as we get, one or two of these and they go through the process, we'll just have to feel it out and what's good is that rezoning ties into that site plan, and that site plan's not the way we like it. We're not gonna recommend approval and move it forward. I mean, it can go forward, but hey, this is what our recommendation is, so. It'll be one of those things, that we move forward with and see how things, I think it's gonna work just fine, but is everything perfect? No, not everything's perfect, but I think we did a really good job putting together some requirements that are reasonable and so forth, so.
I guess that was my feeling in reading through this finalized part, was that it's like, it seems like we've got a lot of information in there. And it'll be interesting to see how it's received and how it's used to begin with. Like you said, we can always make amendments, but I don't think until we get actually into it and we start, making some of those rezones and getting some businesses in, we won't know if we need to make anything different.
And I like this because it gets you guys more involved in it as opposed to just saying, okay, we're just gonna rezone it and you go off, with staff and do a site plan and, it just gets more, eyes on it. Look at it, you guys are living in the public, you're rooted, you've been here for a while, and you keep your eyes on certain things you like, you don't like, or, whatever, so that'll be interesting, so.
And I think as as something comes in, that's when you're gonna start seeing that public comment, when that first rezone happens and that first building goes in. And that's when the questions are gonna come in. Oh, there's a gas station going in there. Well, what else is gonna go next to it? And that's what I see happening. And I think we've got a good, a good overview of, we can say to people, hey, here's what can go in there. And people will, go to this now with the updated comprehensive plan and see that, yeah, we are planning for all these things. So I don't know if you have any additional information. You guys have done a great job. Okay, I think you both covered it very well.
I feel we're beginning ahead of development and you need to be ahead, not behind.
Well, yeah, and this is something that need to be addressed. And I'm glad we've addressed this because, we have some nice corridors, that, there's gonna be development on them. There's just like, stuff went in. I mean, you just don't know when somebody's gonna come knocking on our door. Now we're prepared, okay, and we can scrutinize it and make sure, hey, does this meet the Webster County standard, and so forth. So
It's like we're more on the offensive.
yeah,
We're
and
positive.
we're not over the top. We're not prohibiting development, but hey, no, we want something that's, so it looks good, it's attractive.
What do you think, Arlen?
I think it's well written. I think we just gotta wait and see what happens. I mean, I like that we kind of got some say in stuff.
Have you had any comments, Jeff, public or from members of the board regarding this at all?
No, members of the board, a couple people just wanted to make sure there was enough signage allowance in there. And so, and there is not, I feel there's a lot on the building, but it does allow you to have that one ground monument sign.
Yeah.
Out front there, no more than that. It's restricted to a certain size, so, it's just, it's a feel thing. When something comes in, okay, what are you proposing? What does it look like? What are the colors? They're gonna have to give us all that. What's your signage look like? Yeah, if they don't have it proposed now, we can condition it that, hey, you come back to us and then, we take a look at the materials, because we want that definitely to complement the building instead of putting up something that just, it's all important, and Margot, you talked about some things and but a lot of things, it's like, oh my gosh, they put this building here or something, there's no landscaping, what the, we have the landscaping in here now that, we'll look at and make sure that they put in and stuff like that. The landscaping, the signage, the aesthetics, all that plays into a factor in how things look, So, yeah,
I think the way that we've done it, and if that is a concern of, board members, I guess rightly so. But I think we've set it up so that we can kind of tailor it to who's coming in. And like you said, look at the aesthetic of the first building and then say, what do we need for that signage and what, for the next businesses to come in. You see that happening in larger cities and larger developed areas with, like the strip malls and things like that. As it goes, I mean, for example, out here in Fort Dutch, where the Teriyaki Madness went in and the laundromat and, where their signage is right there off of, I forget what that side street is,
this is the one.
right across from Hy-Vee
Taco
and
Tico.
Taco
Yeah,
Tico
yeah,
there, and
yeah,
they've got
okay.
their sign right in there.
Okay,
I mean,
noticed
that's a real
that.
nice sign.
Okay, I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good then, that's pretty good then, it doesn't stick out too much.
Yeah, and it's, it's a kind of a monument type signage, and it's got room for, them to put other things in there, and, I guess I noticed it going by, but.
What's all in there right now? Sorry to get off that.
No, that's right, it's Teriyaki Madness.
And the laundromat?
A laundromat and a
Cell
phone, is it
I think it's
AT&T?
T-Mobile.
A T-Mobile.
T-Mobile's in there right
Okay,
now?
T-Mobile.
Was it 5 bays, 4 bays? I don't know.
I think
We
there's
don't have to
room
get-
for, isn't there room for one more, I think, for one more
Another tenant?
business?
Okay,
Yeah. And so, I thought that looked, that looks nice and that kind of, it works with how they did the layout,
mhm.
And I think when we get something like this coming in, that's what we're gonna do is, we're gonna be able to look at the layout and look at the businesses. I mean, those businesses kind of all complement themselves. I noticed that a lot in Des Moines, you go into certain areas, mainly out in West Des Moines, and you see those little strip mall, and it's everything you need in a neighborhood, and everything complements each other, the laundromat, the place to pick up a slice of pizza and, you're banking and, which is great. So hopefully we'll have some, cohesiveness like that with ours. So,
Is the county getting pushed towards retention ponds and stuff too, or is it more in the city?
Well, we've done some. Yeah, it all depends. I mean,
Cause that would be the only thing I could think of someday down the road is just making sure they're maintained, mowed, looking nice, not just overgrown. And that, cause I guess I've seen retention ponds where they look like crap.
no,
after a
they
while.
can, yeah, they can. Yeah, and so, they're typically on someone's property, and so then they're responsible to maintain, around it at least.
Yeah.
They can let some of it grow natural a little bit for birds or whatever, but yeah,
So I know that's what Holy Trinity wanted to do, and I says, no, if you're gonna put retention, I was on church parish
oh,
council
okay,
at that time.
yeah,
And I says, no, make it so it's mowable, clean up, keep it clean, keep it picked up, and they have,
yeah, good, yeah.
so. Here's the one I can think of, is the one behind the new co-op office that Star Energies owns. That one always looks overgrown, crappy,
yeah, it does.
yes. And I've mentioned it, that it's owned by Star or FS or whatever, it's not the co-op property. So,
Of course, out in the county on our corridors, I mean, when you think about retention ponds and that kind of thing, I mean, there's,
it's just for quick runoff is what it is.
Yeah.
The parking lot's big enough, they gotta have a way to maintain that runoff
Yeah.
right away.
and with farm tiles and field tiles, things like that are gonna be out in our areas, I mean, that I'm sure will be addressed in the construction planning.
Yeah, that's a good question, as we go through. I mean, we don't require full construction, we'll require a landscape plan, their signage package. Yeah, but we can talk about drainage and stuff like that. To get an understanding, of all of that's gonna work. It's important, all of that's important, there's no doubt about it, so.
I'm not sure, I believe in the ag park. That there's tile drainage that Cargill was hooked up to. That drains on to the south, down to the South Blizzard,
Okay,
and that was a big issue when they put that in. So, I mean, and obviously it's a different type of industry. But that is a good point for these areas, especially where they're gonna be so visible, so.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm happy with the way it's written, happy with the work that you guys did on this.
Thank you. I'm glad you're happy.
Very nice, yeah.
You all were great to work with.
Well, thank you. Now, Jeff, are you wanting us to,
Make a motion on this to, yeah, move it along to the Board of Supervisors and they'll do their first of 3 public hearings.
okay,
I'm sure they'll utilize all 3 of them. That's something that's this important, but that's to their discretion.
sure,
I see a couple of those way it's gonna play out happen unless, before Christmas and then probably this moving forth and getting adopted sometime in January.
Okay.
Yeah, by the end of January for sure, so.
okay. All right, we don't have a motion written in here. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, we don't do it. I don't know.
No, that's why I was asking if, I
Oh, I
assumed
got
you
you.
were expecting a motion.
I put the agenda together, so it's my apologies.
That's all right. So if someone would like to make a motion to, pass the information as written to the Board of Supervisors. All right, Gary's gonna make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a second. All those voting in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposed? Motion to send the information as written to the Board of Supervisors has passed. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other new business or old business?
We will meet next month. There'll be a rezoning case.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what we'll have on the docket, so. And, that's it for the rest of the year then.
when will that be?
I wanna say, right around the 14th
12th?
again, 12th,
The
yeah,
12th?
12th, I think, yeah. Yeah, we have to,
We don't all have enough going on, right? No, that's fine. If we have a rezone, then,
yeah, so
all right,
get that on your calendar and to attend and. Gonna put that on this agenda. That would have been rushing it, but yeah, it would have been pretty tight, but
okay,
so.
all right,
Yeah, we can talk more. When you get that rezoning request, it's a little bit different, so. Feel free to give me a call to talk about it and so forth,
Okay.
yeah.
sounds good. All right. If I have a motion for adjournment from anyone? All right, we have a motion from Arlen to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm gonna use the second. All those voting in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to adjourn passes at 6:40. All right, thank you, everyone.
And Sarah,